should you be shooting in RAW or JPEG when it comes to sports photography? That is a question that I see a lot. And in all honesty, the answer is it really just depends on the situation that you are shooting. So with JPEG, it's a universal file. Every computer reads JPEG. So you won't need special software to edit a JPEG image. And with JPEG, since they are a smaller compressed file, you will have a lot more space on your card. You won't take up as much space on your computer, and your write times will be a lot faster from camera to card. But again, they're smaller images. So if you need a big edit, and if you're trying to bring a lot back, you may not have the pixels to be able to do that. Now with raw images or raw files, they are a uncompressed image or an uncompressed file. So they are going to be a lot bigger because all of the pixels are going to be there, which means you will need special software to edit these images. The write time is going to be slower because the files are bigger. It's going to take a little bit more time to write to the card. And then they're going to take up more space on your computer and your storage based on the image file being so big. But if you need a big edit and you need to bring a lot back, it's RAW is going to be better for you on that aspect because the image files are so much bigger that there's going to be space to be able to do that. So here are a couple scenarios on when you probably should be shooting in JPEG. And a big one is if you're shooting for a media outlet and they need the pictures immediately, like throughout the game or right after the game, they need to be posted to their websites, socials, etc. And in that instance, like you're not going to have time to do a lot of editing to these images. So you're going to be able to shoot JPEG so they can get them out immediately. Now, when shooting in JPEG, be sure you have your images, settings, exposure, all the thing as close to right as possible in the camera so they don't really have to do much to them as they are coming out, and they can get them out and posted on their websites pretty quickly. Another reason to shoot JPEG is if you're new and you're a beginner and you don't really know how to edit yet, you don't necessarily have the expertise of using a raw image because they can be a little overwhelming. And so if you don't want to do a ton of editing, then shooting a JPEG as a beginner is probably a good idea. And there's nothing wrong with it. I shot JPEG at the beginning too. And then I switched to RAW later. And like I said, with JPEG, you don't need special software to open. If you don't want to invest in Lightroom or Photoshop or any sort of editing software like that, then shooting in JPEG is going to be your best option. So shooting for a media outlet or the school or whatever that needs their pictures out immediately, JPEG is going to be your best bet. Or again, if you're a beginner and you're not really sure where to go with editing, JPEG is going to be good for that as well. Now, a scenario with RAW to be shooting in RAW. I mostly shoot in RAW. And like I said, it's a bigger file. You do kind of have to compensate for slower write times. But when you are shooting in stadiums or gyms that are dungeons, which I shoot a lot in, especially our home stadium, and they're really dark. And you are going to need a lot of pixels to bring those images back to fix exposure because no matter how much you turn that camera up, they're still maybe slightly underexposed. And so in order to be able to do that, I need more pixels to work with. So shooting in RAW is your better option. I also like to do composites and things like that. And having the RAW image, especially being a bigger file, gives me more space to be able to cut kids out of a picture and put them on a 3 foot by 4 foot banner. And so it just gives you a lot more to work with. If you want to play around better or more with editing, having that raw image is more beneficial to me. And it could just be my camera settings and I need to maybe play around with it a little bit more. I personally think my JPEG images are soft and I don't think they're as easy to edit. Um, so that's why I shoot raw, is because I have time to edit. Another way or another reason is if you do have time to edit your images. So my images don't need to be out immediately after the game is over. Now, my athletes would definitely like them to be out immediately after the game is over, but that's just not how that works. And so, because I don't need them immediately after, and I have time to go home to really pick out the good ones and really edit them and make them look good, then RAW is a better option for that and for me. So, like I said, shooting in RAW, shooting in JPEG really honestly depends on the scenario that you're in. Some sports photographers, like, they only ever shoot JPEG and never shoot RAW, and some are the opposite. And it really just, again, depends on the scenario. So if I'm ever shooting for a media outlet and things and pictures, again, need to be out super fast with very little editing, JPEG is the way I'm going to go with that. And if not, if I have time to go home, edit, and do things like that, I'm going to shoot raw. And like I said, like our football field, especially, is so, it's dark, it's yellow. Sometimes we're red and that kind of bleeds in. And it just, it's not good. We haven't updated our football field in, I'm not even joking, probably like 40 years. It's bad. We are we have built a new baseball, softball stadiums, which will open this summer and for our summer season. And I'm pretty excited about that because hopefully the lighting's a lot better. And when I go to away football games, especially the newer stadiums, the lighting is definitely a lot better. And most of the teams that we play anymore have massively upgraded their stadiums. We just haven't yet because they don't want to spend the money, and it's a whole thing. But anyway, so and that kind of depends on like shooting in raw. This is a lot of times why I shoot in raw, because our football stadium was bad. Our baseball stadium was worse, being dark and being yellow. Our softball was maybe a smidge better than our baseball, but not really. And so the cards were stacked against me when it comes to photography and taking pictures and editing. And I'm not even joking. Our baseball field was so bad. Once it started to get dark, I honestly kind of quit taking pictures because it was so bad. Like they're so hard to edit. Even shooting in raw, they're bad. So I'm excited for a new field. It'll open when our season starts this like end of May. So I'm excited for that. But anyways, that is the different kind of scenarios, shooting with raw or JPEG. Again, both are fine. Like you don't, one isn't necessarily better than the other. It just each has their pros and cons, and you just need to figure out which one suits you better. But anyways, if you have any questions about whether it comes to raw or JPEG, and let me know in the comments below. I will answer any question that you have when it comes to sports photography. And before you leave, do all the YouTube things. Subscribe to my channel if you want to see more tips and tricks on how to be a better sports photographer. And be sure you like the video before you leave. And if you have anything else that you would like me to cover when it comes to sports photography and how to being a better sports photographer, let me know. I will gladly cover it. I'm always taking suggestions. And but yeah, that's about it. So do the YouTube things. Please like and subscribe. And I will see you in the next video.